Ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama Senate will now come to order. Our prayer today will be delivered by Major Scott Douglas. Major Douglas is a chaplain and currently assigned to the Holmes Center at Maxwell Air Force Base, where he serves over Holmes Center's headquarters, Officer Training School, ROTC, and JROTC. Major Douglas.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Gracious God, thank you for this day and for these men and women you have placed in positions of leadership for the great state of Alabama. I pray that you will give them wisdom, a spirit of cooperation, and determination to accomplish meaningful legislation, not just for today, but for decades to come. I thank you for putting a spirit of service into their hearts, and I ask you to bless them and their efforts as they tirelessly worked to do good for all. May their work be a beacon for the rest of our nation, so that others will strive to accomplish the good things that will be done in these chambers today. Finally, thank you, Lord, for it is you who have ordained this to be. Thank you for your grace and your mercy, and may we make you proud. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Today the pledge will be led by Zion Williams from Montgomery Catholic High School. Zion is a guest of Senator Hatcher.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Zion. Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Allen, Mr. Barfoot, Mr. Beasley, Mr. Bell, Mr. Butler, Mr. Carnley, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Chasteen, Ms. Coleman, Ms. Coleman Madison, Mr. Elliott, Ms. Figures, Mr. Gavan, Mr. Gudger, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Hovey, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kitchens, Mr. Livingston, Mr. Milson, Mr. Orr, Mr. Price, Mr. Reed, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Sessions, Mr. Shelnut, Mr. Singleton, Mr. Smitherman, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Stutz, Mr. Wagner, Ms. Weaver, Mr. Williams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 29 senators present, which is a quorum. The Senate's ready to transact business.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move that we excuse absent senators.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move that we dispense with the reading of the journal from the previous legislative day and that we adopt said journal.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. All right, I'd like to recognize some special guests in the gallery. When I call your name, if you could please stand. They're the guest of Senator Chambliss, the youth leadership from Autauga County. If y'all could please stand. Welcome to the Alabama Senate.
Mr. President?
Yes, Senator Smitherman.
Could I have a brief moment of personal privilege?
We recognize.
I didn't say public privilege. But I want to, just like you want to get some flowers when people are living, just like you have to talk about some other things. I don't know where we're going and where we will end up riding today, but I'll say this. I want to thank the Rules Chair. Everybody listen up. I want to thank the Rules Chair for the calendar that you worked to put together. The calendar reflected what I was discussing to the T, and you'll be commended for your efforts and what you did in that. So I just want to say that to you here and to everybody. He deserves the flowers because it ain't easy, I know, but you put some time and effort to it, and you got a calendar that reflective of the conversation that I had. So thank you very much. One or two. And by the way, if it's I want to say this: if there are some things that we need to discuss and look at some amendments and things, then let's look at that too. So, but that's what we out here. We're gonna grind it out and try to get some work done on those if at all possible. Thank y'all very much.
Mr. President.
Senator Allen.
Since we had 3 committee meetings this morning, I'm going to make a motion that the reporting of those committees be delayed this afternoon.
So, we can't do that.
Okay.
Because we haven't got the sunset bills.
Okay, I got you. Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Senator Allen, you did miss the other day. I wore my Alabama tie for you and even acknowledged about Alabama making the Final Four. So congratulations to you.
Well, listen, we're playing Saturday night at 7:49 tip-off time, and I have to say, Charles Barkley is one of my favorite people, and when he says Alabama University, it makes me think about University of Auburn, and but listen, all jokes aside, Auburn had a tremendous season. But Alabama is going to win Saturday night and against a very talented team. We got to perform on that side of the circle. We got to make all those shots, and then at the same time have a good half-court press that will give some confusion to their offense, because they got an excellent offense. And so just best wishes to our great team in Alabama.
Absolutely. I'll be pulling for him. All right, Senator Singleton.
Yes, Mr. President. I'm here because my colleague from West Alabama in Tuscaloosa now, he and I both served Tuscaloosa, asked me to come here to brag on Alabama basketball since Alabama's left there. So I'm standing up here doing my due diligence for West Alabama, for the University of Alabama, and something I usually don't say, roll, tide, roll.
Mr. President.
Mr. Pro Tem.
Mr. President, I can't be left out, my goodness. We got 3 senators that represent Tuscaloosa, so I want to add my own definitive roll tide. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you. And
at this point, I need to make a motion that we set aside sunset for the purpose of a special order calendar.
all right, Secretary, call the long roll, please.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chasteen. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Reed. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shelnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams.
A 28 ayes, 0 nays. The motion passes. All right. Senator Wagner. Senator Wagner.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
have a report from Committee on Rules.
All right. Secretary Reed received the report from the Committee on Rules.
From the Committee on Rules.
What?
Senate Resolution Number 43, Special Order Calendar. Be it resolved by the Senate of the Legislature of Alabama that immediately upon the adoption of this resolution, the following business in the order set forth below shall be the special and paramount order of business for the 19th legislative day, taking precedence over the regular order of business or any pending or unfinished business. Introduction of bills, House messages, reports from standing committees, motions and resolutions. On page 37, Senate Bill number 217 by Senator Chasteen and Butler relating to public schools. On page 13, Senate Bill 35 by Senator Smitherman relating to public education. On page 30, Senate Bill 104 by Senator Carnley regarding civil practice. On page 25, Senate Bill 177 by Senator Gudger relating to gas districts. On page 12, Senate Bill 157 by Senator Orr relating to public education employees. On page 23, Senate Bill 112 by Senators Gavan and Smitherman relating to the Alabama Business and Nonprofit Entities Code. On page 22, Senate Bill 171 by Senator Smitherman regarding the Alabama Accountability Act. On page 42, Senate Bill 155 by Senator Chambliss regarding the Joint Transportation Committee. On page 45, Senate Bill 200 by Senator Kitchens relating to the Board of Nursing. On page 28, Senate Bill 150 by Senator Gudger relating to taxation. On page 20, Senate Bill number 9 by Senator Coleman Madison regarding Class 1 municipalities. On page 3, Senate Bill 99 by Senator Bell relating to associations governing high school sports. On page 25, Senate Bill 204 by Senator Sessions and Allen regarding domestic and foreign corporations. On page 28, Senate Bill 199 by Senator Albritton regarding the emergency medical transport providers. On page 39, Senate Bill 202 by Senator Carnley relating to animals. On page 28, Senate Bill 154 by Senator Albritton relating to sheriffs. On page 8, Senate Bill 123 by Senator Kelly relating to the State Board of Auctioneers. On page 5, Senate Bill 125 by Senator Stewart relating to the State Board of Public Accountancy. On page 5, Senate Bill 126 by Senator Stewart relating to the Alabama Liquefied Petroleum Gas Board. On page 6, Senate Bill 132 by Senator Barfoot relating to the Board of Social Work Examiners. On page 7, Senate Bill 147 by Senator Coleman Madison relating to the Public Service Commission.
Is that it?
That's it.
I want to speak to the calendar, please.
Yeah, you're recognized.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. And we're here today on Tell Like Thursday. I heard that the gentleman had said that we have a good calendar that's come up, while the gentleman from Jefferson was bragging about the Rules Chair putting on a lot of Democratic bills, but I realized that the gentleman who was bragging got 90% of the bills on there, of the Democratic bills. But anyway, we really do appreciate that, and that's what we're trying to do, is to make sure that there's that parity that's there in these bills. Excuse me, sir, can you pass me one of the calendars, please, while I speak to the calendar? Thank you, sir. Thank you. And today we're going to do, as we know, we're still in this process of sunset. Until we dissolve sunset, we're going to have these special order calendars come up in this manner, being able to introduce bills, House messages, our reports from our committees, standing committees, and deal with our motions and resolutions. There are some good bills on this calendar. There are some bills that I think that's going to be questionable, that we're probably going to do some up and down votes on, to make sure that we're moving forward in the state. So I know that there's a bill on here that is of some concern in terms of public education employees, the exposure of students from classroom provided for principals authorized to suspend, expel, or recommend for alternative school certain students to education employees, local boards of education authorized to reimburse or compensate employees for certain legal fees rebuttable presumption created, the Board of Education is required to adopt these rules. And so this is going to allow some situations where kids, not only in high school or middle school, but I think this bill even deal with pre-K being exposed from school. And I think that there are some definitions in here in terms of whether or not a person is being disruptive or whether or not a person interfere. That could be someone standing up for their rights and stand up and saying that, hey, I believe in and making sure that I have the right to be able to express myself. And I think this bill can infringe upon someone's constitutional rights in terms of First Amendment free speech, which would allow students to stand up for themselves in schools. If the teachers see that as interfering or disrupting the classroom, then therefore the child can be exposed from school, sent to alternative school, and or sit out for 4 or 5 days. And so that is a bill I think that we're going to have to talk about. We have a small business nonprofit entity code. I think this is going to be a good bill to help to clear up some of the language that these model business corporations do based on Delaware law. Accountability Act, classroom municipalities, notice to parent or guardian of students at priority schools required to include admission information about schools and district with competitive admission. That is a notice bill there. There's a bill on joint transportation. Joint Transportation Committee transfer responsibility for annual report on locomotive fuels, excise tax, revenues to Department of Revenue. There's a bill here dealing with the Board of Nursing. I think that's a bill dealing with my new freshman senator who's coming from the House. We'll be dealing with this and then dealing with CNAs and nurse anesthetists. I dealt with a bill like that a few years ago, getting them certification. And this is going to do the CNAs, allowing them to deal with that. And I'm sure we'll get to know a little bit more about that when we get to that point. Senator Gurger has a tourism tax protection act. I'd like to know what we doing in tourism tax protection act. Class 1 municipalities, Senator Coleman, Madison, enforcement of state regulations and municipal code, liens, judicial, in-rem foreclosures, court order sales of property, recovery of unpaid liens, and costs of enforcement not applicable to owner-occupied real property. Senator Bell has a bill and others with Association of Governing High School Sports, subject to a one-time audit by examiners of public examiners. Domestic and foreign corporations, annual report requirement. I think the gentleman from Mobile that just spoke to me about that, allowing these small companies in terms of them filing on a yearly, annual basis with the Secretary of State, allowing them to be removed from that reporting process. I would like to know a little bit more in terms of what is in that process. We got emergency medical transport providers, assessment period extended. Senator Albritton has that bill. Animals disposal methods of dead further provided. Senator Conley dealing with, I guess we'll find out how we're gonna have to put away the dead dog now. Sheriff in category 1 and 2 counties, salary may be set by the county commission. And yeah, I guess the county commission is the legislative body of the county that has those rules to be able to set up and to do budgets and to allocate and disperse money. So that would be only right that the county commission does that. State Board of Auctioneers continued until, I guess this is a sunset bill here. Yeah, this is a sunset bill. So they ease and sunset in, ease a little bit more sunset in as we go. So this is a sunset bill. Senator Stewart in Coleman Madison has a sunset bill, SB 125 on boards of public accountants, continued until October 1st, 2028. Senator Stewart in Coleman Madison also have the Petroleum Gas Board sunset bill. And Senator Barfoot has a bill on here for the Alabama Board of Social Work Examiners, continued until October 1st without modification pursuant to sunset. Look like all of these boards got at least a 4-year extension on their service. Public Service Commissions continued until October 1st, 2028 without modification. And I think I missed a couple on the front. We're dealing with public schools teacher salary schedule. Experience credit provided to certain certified teachers for experience as paraprofessionals or teachers' aides. That's a good bill. So we're going to allow some of these teachers' aides who have probably been in the classroom for a period of time to get credit towards time that they're spent helping out in the classroom. That'll help us bring more folks along, get more teachers' aides in the classroom. That's a boost there. You know, because I believe that, you know, we got the Alabama Literacy Act and we have the Numeracy Act. When we look at our pre-K program in this state, we say our pre-K program is the best in the nation. But something happens from pre-K to first grade, to second to third grade, there's a big drop-off, because if our kids are getting it at the pre-K level, why doesn't it translate all the way up to third grade? And a lot of that, I think that one of the common denominators that pre-K had is that they have 2 teachers in the classroom. And so I've taken this idea to my school boards in my area. We looked at a pilot program. I've taken the idea, talked to this budget chairman about it. Why aren't we putting 2 teachers in a classroom from pre-K to third grade? So why aren't we doing it that way if it works at the pre-K level? And so, because kids that are there in the first, second grade, third grade, not that they have discipline problems, but a lot of these kids have attention problems, and sometimes you need someone else, another set of eyes, another set of hands to be able to help those kids get that attention that the teacher cannot capture and hold for a long period of time, while you may have that other person. Or if little Bobby is not reading at the level that little Bobby is supposed to be reading, you could have that other teacher or aide to pull him to the side to help little Bobby get his reading up. And so I think that there's a lot that we could be doing in education in this state that we don't do. You got to recognize it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Mr.
appreciate it. Thank you, Senator Singleton. I'd like to recognize some special guests in the gallery. When I call your name, if you could please stand. The guest of Senator Kelly, the Calhoun County Chamber of Commerce Leadership Class. If y'all could please stand. Welcome to the Alabama Senate.
Welcome to the People's House. Y'all have a great senator that represents you all down here. He's doing an excellent job of getting on my nerve. He is really a good senator. I really and truly have enjoyed his service since he's been here.
All right, Senator Singleton, they're looking forward to hearing more stories about little Bobby.
Little Bobby, yeah.
Yeah, all
okay,
right.
let me get back to little Bobby. Little Bobby understands how to read, see? And so when you get 2 teachers per classroom, I think it helps those kids to understand how to read. And the Numeracy Act is there also. So math is not something that you just stand and teach a child. There has to be hands-on with math. Math is about practice. It's about repetition. It's about reading that formula and going over and over again how to understand that formula, how to understand the basic rules of math. And when you can apply the rules of math, math becomes somewhat simpler. And therefore, you're able to maneuver yourself through that process. I think that we get in a system to where if little Bobby don't know it in 9 weeks, how to solve that problem, then we want to take little Bobby and fail little Bobby so little Bobby can't move on to the next grade. But we haven't, as a system, done what we need to do to help little Bobby. And so I don't want little Bobby in the 3rd grade to fail, and I don't want little Bobby in the 6th grade to fail. So the Numeracy Act and the Literacy Act, we need to make sure that we're giving these schools the tool that they need to make sure, in order to ensure that our students are not failing and that they are excelling, passing, and so that we can be stronger here in the state of Alabama. Because while we have our Choose Act that allows students to transfer wherever they want to go, if they all leave public school and go to private schools, let's just say that that is the case, and everybody is happy. But when the grade come out, if Alabama is still getting an F, it still look bad on all of us. Doesn't matter whether or not kids went somewhere else, Alabama will still be at the bottom. And are we just internally trying to make sure that just a number of kids get educated and the state can still look bad? Or are we trying to elevate the state to a level to where the state can be able to be elevated and everybody look good? But the Choose Act says that we just want to get those kids out who can get out, let them run, go where they need to go, and we won't worry about what the state looks like, because we feel that we're trying to save all those that want to be saved. And so therefore, we just leave public education to where it is and don't care whether or not Alabama gets a black eye or not. Okay, so that's all that's about. So we leave those disadvantaged, marginalized, poor kids, those schools at 100% free and reduced lunch. Transportation is a problem, rural schools. So we're saying it's okay. And we leave the whole state on their shoulders. But I'm here to tell you, there are some excellent scholars that are out there in those schools. There are some excellent scholars that I would put up next to anyone in any private school or any other school in terms of competitiveness, and I'll put based on their academics, and I'm certain that they would shine. We have a great group of students out there, and we cannot give up on them. We cannot allow them, just because of their socioeconomic status, to allow them to fall by the wayside. We must invest in them. We must put money back into them. We just can't see it as a throwing money at a lost cause. You know, I hear that about West Alabama, people, we shouldn't be throwing money over there because it's just throwing money away. We're citizens of the state of Alabama like everybody else, you know? And so I'm hoping that when this education budget comes up, it is reflective of what we need to be doing here in the state.
All right, the time's expired.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, do you want the long roll or short roll?
Just call the short roll, it's fine.
All right, we have a good roll, correct? Marshall, we got a good roll? Yes. All right. Any objection to using the short roll? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
All right, 28 ayes, 0 nays. The special order calendar is adopted. All right. First order of business, introduction of bills.
Senate Bill number 279 by Senator Coleman Madison, relating to law enforcement, is referred to the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs. Senate Bill number 280 by Senator Gudger and others, relating to child care and workforce development, is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation Education. Senate Bill 281 by Senator Melson, relating to financial institutions, is referred to the Committee on Banking and Insurance. Senate Bill number 282 by Senator Hovey, relating to boats and boating, is referred to the Committee on Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development. Senate Bill number 283 by Senator Hovey, relating to first responders, is referred to the Committee on Transportation and Energy. Senate Bill number 284 by Senator Hovey, relating to public education, is referred to the Committee on Education Policy. Senate Bill number 285 by Senator Gudger, relating to Entertainment Industry Incentive Act, is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation Education. Senate Bill number 286 by Senator Gudger, relating to the Alabama Film Office, is referred to the Committee on Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development. Senate Bill number 287 by Senator Gavan and others, relating to the Alabama Code of Military Justice, is referred to the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs. Senate Bill number 288 by Senator Gavan, relating to building codes, is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Senate Bill number 289 by Senator Coleman and Gavan, relating to state at-large notaries public, is referred to the Judiciary Committee. Senate Bill number 290 by Senator Wagner, relating to tourism improvement districts, is referred to the Committee on Tourism and Marketing. Senate Bill number 291 by Senator Wagner, relating to municipal officials, is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Senate Bill number 292 by Senator Elliott, relating to the State Licensing Board for General Contractors, is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Senate Bill number 293 by Senator Orr, relating to civil actions, is referred to the Judiciary Committee. Senate Bill number 294 by Senator Smitherman, relating to chaplains, is referred to the Committee on Education Policy. Senate Bill number 295 by Senator Smitherman, relating to license taxes and registration fees, is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation General Fund. Senate Bill number 296 by Senator Smitherman, relating to Class 1 municipalities, is referred to the Committee on Education Policy. Senate Bill number 297 by Senator Melson, relating to state income tax, is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation General Fund. Senate Bill number 298 by Senator Singleton, relating to the Greene County Racing Commission, is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation with notice and proof. Senate Bill number 299 by Senator Singleton, relating to the legislature, is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Senate Bill number 300 by Senator Hatcher and others, providing for a benefit increase for certain retirees and beneficiaries, is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation General Fund. Senate Bill number 301 by Senator Hatcher and others, relating to retirees, is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation Education. Senate Bill number 302 by Senator Smitherman, relating to the Fair Campaign Practices Act, is referred to the Judiciary Committee. Senate Bill number 303 by Senator Carnley, relating to certain international organizations, is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Senate Bill number 304 by Senator Carnley, relating to mandatory supervised release of defendants, is referred to the Judiciary Committee.
All right, now move on to House messages.
Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 97, appointing Reggie Sylvain to the Alabama Agriculture and Mechanical Board of Trustees is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 98, appointing Sherry B. Pickett to the Alabama Agriculture and Mechanical University Board of Trustees is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 99, appointing Tiffany Johnson Cole to the Alabama Agriculture and Mechanical University Board of Trustees is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 100, appointing Robert Bud Kramer to the Alabama Agriculture and Mechanical University Board of Trustees is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 101, appointing Denver Belts to the Athens State University Board of Trustees is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 102, appointing Tommy Koblenz to the Athens State University Board of Trustees is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 103, appointing Donna Coleman to the Athens State University Board of Trustees is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Coleman. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 104, appointing Juanita Taggart Jones to the Real Estate Commission is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 105, appointing Kim Bearlair to the Real Estate Commission is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. B-A-R-E-L-A-R-E. One word. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 106, appointing Christina Kuklinski to the Alabama Securities Commission is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Kuklinski, K-U-K-L-I-N-S-K-I. Alabama Securities Commission. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 107, appointing Wayne Allen Carroll to the Alabama Securities Commission is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Who's appointing this? Hey, take a look at that. Is that just a message from the governor? That's all it's got with it. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 108, appointing Toki Dunn to the Alabama State Sickle Cell Oversight and Regulatory Commission is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 109, appointing Scott Winfrey to the Alabama Plumbers and Gas Fitters Examining Board is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Scott Winfrey. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 110, appointing Henry McCoy to the Alabama Plumbers and Gas Fitters Examining Board is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. What's the last name? McCoy. McCoy. M-C-C-O-Y. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 111, appointing Charles Owenby to the Alabama Plumbers and Gas Fitters Examining Board, is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 112, appointing Isidore Gardner to the Alabama Plumbers and Gas Fitters Examining Board, is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 113, appointing Bobby Bullock to the Alabama Plumbers and Gas Fitters Examining Board, is referred to the Committee on Confirmations.
Bullock, B-U-L-L-O-C-H.
Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 114, appointing Charles Robinson to the Alabama Plumbers and Gas Fitters Examining Board, is referred to the Committee on Confirmations.
P-L-U-M-B-E-R.
Message from the governor. Senate confirmation number 115, appointing Janice Warren to the Alabama Plumbers and Gas Fitters Examining Board, is referred to the Committee on Confirmations. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 89 by Representative Mooney relating to Shelby County is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation, Shelby County. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 271 by Representative Fidler and Givens relating to Baldwin County is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk.
Who was the other guy?
Givens.
Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 322 by Representative Wood, R, relating to Calhoun County is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk.
All right, I want to recognize some special guests in the gallery. When I call your name, if you could please stand. The guests of Senator Chambliss and Senator Hovey, Leadership Lake Martin, if y'all could please stand. Welcome to the Alabama Senate.
They had to wake that guy in the white shirt up.
Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 132 by Representative Givens, a proposed constitutional amendment relating to Baldwin County, is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. The House of Representatives has originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 323 by Representative Wood, R, relating to Calhoun County with notice and proof, is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 342 by Representative Hulk Jones, relating to Baldwin County with notice and proof, is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 272 by Representative Robbins and others with notice and proof relating to Talladega County is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 281 by Representative Hill relating to St. Clair County is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill 319 by Representative Oliver relating to Tallapoosa County with notice and proof is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 328 by Representative Bedsole and others relating to Shelby County with notice and proof is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation, Shelby County. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 268 by Representative Stringer, a proposed constitutional amendment relating to Baldwin County, is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 341 by Representative Hulk Jones with notice and proof relating to Baldwin County is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 262 by Representative Colvin, a proposed constitutional amendment relating to Marshall County, is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 343 by Representative Hulk Jones, a proposed constitutional amendment relating to Baldwin County, is referred to the Committee on Local Legislation. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 280 by Representative Lovern relating to public education is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation Education. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 206 by Representative Rim and others relating to motor vehicle registration is referred to the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 274 by Representative Lee relating to prisoners is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation General Fund. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 166 by Representative Hill, a proposed constitutional amendment relating to the compensation of county officers, is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 294 by Representative Lee relating to local county officials is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation General Fund. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 314 by Representative Travis and others relating to motor vehicle registrations is referred to the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 284 by Representative Starnes and others relating to the Alabama GI Independence Educational Benefit Act is referred to the Committee on Finance and Taxation Education. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 103 by Representative Pascal relating to the Department of Veterans Affairs is referred to the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 22 by Representative Gidley relating to public schools is referred to the Committee on Education Policy. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 86 by Representative Pringle relating to voting is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 102 by Representative DuBose relating to child labor is referred to the Committee on Children and Youth Health. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 198 by Representative Brown relating to building codes is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 234 by Representative Bedsole relating to the Board of Nursing is referred to the Health Care Committee. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 270 by Representative Sells relating to tax delinquent properties is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk. Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives originated and passed the following engrossed House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate. House Bill number 315 by Representative Marks and others relating to the Alabama Move Over Act is referred to the Committee on Transportation and Energy.
All right, that concludes House messages. I now move on to committee reports. Secretary, call the first committee.
From the Committee on Finance and Taxation General Fund, Senate Bill number 70 receives a favorable report by a vote of 15 ayes and 0 nays. From Finance and Taxation General Fund, Senate Bill number 69 receives a favorable report by 15 ayes and 0 nays. From Finance and Taxation General Fund, Senate Bill number 68 receives a favorable report by a vote of 15 ayes and 0 nays. From Finance and Taxation General Fund, Senate Bill number 67 receives a favorable report with substitute by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays and 4 abstentions. From Finance and Taxation General Fund, Senate Bill number 66 receives a favorable report with substitute by a vote of 14 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention. From Finance and Taxation General Fund, Senate Bill number 230 receives a favorable report with 1 amendment by a vote of 15 ayes and 0 nays. From Finance and Taxation General Fund, Senate Bill number 170 receives a favorable report by a vote of 15 ayes and 0 nays. From Finance and Taxation General Fund, House Bill number 275 receives a favorable report by a vote of 15 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second read and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation number 9, appointing J. Stephen Roy to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
Senator Weaver.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate confirms Mr. Stephen Roy to the University of Alabama System Board of Directors.
Would you like to use previous role?
Previous role, yes.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
28 ayes, 0 nays. J. Stephen Roy is confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 10, appointing Kenneth L. Vandervoort to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
I move that the Senate confirms Kenneth Vandervoort to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees using previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
28 ayes, 0 nays. Kenneth L. Vandervoort is confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation Number 11, appointing Jeff Gronberg to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
I move that the Senate confirms Mr. Jeff Gronberg to the University of Alabama System Board of Trustees. Use the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Jeff Gronberg is confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation. Oh, this includes confirmation. All right.
We did it for Judge Holmes. Yeah, I remember.
All right, Secretary, call next committee.
From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill 174 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 192 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays. From Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 235 receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 240 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 245 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 255 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, House Bill number 75 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, House Bill number 161 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, House Bill number 222 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee. Before we do that, I want to recognize some special guests in the gallery. The guest of Senator Jones, when I call your name, if you could please stand. Leadership Etowah, if y'all could please stand.
They've already left. I'm sorry.
All right, they've already left. All right.
From the Committee on Education Policy, Senate Bill number 246 receives a favorable report by a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Education Policy, Senate Bill number 229 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Education Policy, Senate Bill number 253 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Education Policy, House Bill number 95 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call next committee.
From the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, Senate Bill number 275 receives a favorable report by a vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays.
This bill has received a second reading to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call next committee.
From the Committee on Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill 247 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 13 ayes, 1 nay. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 252 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 11 ayes, 1 nay, and 2 abstentions. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, House Bill number 230 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 225 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 1 nay. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 231 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 11 ayes and 3 nays. Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 249 receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 2 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary called next committee.
Damn committee. We're still on Fred. We're still on Fred, yeah. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 242 by Senator Singleton receives a favorable report with substitute by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 243 receives a favorable report with substitute by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 266 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary called next committee.
From the Committee on Transportation and Energy, Senate Bill number 226 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Transportation and Energy, Senate Bill number 258 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays. From Transportation and Energy, House Bill number 233 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 12 ayes and 1 nay.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary called next committee.
From the Committee on Children and Youth Health, Senate Bill number 256 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays. From Children and Youth Health, Senate Bill number 237 receives a favorable report with substitute by a vote of 9 ayes and 0 nays. From Children and Youth Health, House Bill number 65 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary called next committee.
From Veterans and Military Affairs, Senate Bill number 244 receives a favorable report by a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays. From Veterans and Military Affairs, Senate Bill number 248 receives a favorable report by a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays. From Veterans and Military Affairs, Senate Bill number 207 receives a favorable report by a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs, Senate Bill number 208 receives a favorable report by a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs, House Bill number 265 receives a favorable report by a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs, Senate Bill number 251 receives a favorable report by a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Veterans and Military Affairs, Senate Bill number 254 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 6 ayes and 2 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary called next committee.
From the Committee on Local Legislation, Jefferson County, House Bill number 190 receives a favorable report by a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays.
This bill has received a second reading to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. This concludes committee reports. Now move on to motions and resolutions. Any motions or resolutions? All right. Last call. Any motions or resolutions? Senator Wagner?
Mr. President,
Senator Roberts?
just a point of personal privilege, please.
All right, you're recognized.
I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. Captain Crutch, Mike Colin, a good friend and a mentor of mine, played at Auburn University and then played for the Miami Dolphins on their undefeated season. A great representative from Berry High School and then went to Auburn and then played for Miami. If we could just take a moment of silence, that'd be great. Please, sir.
Sure. Yeah, if y'all could join us in a moment of silence, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Senator Roberts. All right, we're on motions and resolutions.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
have some resolutions from rules.
All right, Secretary Reed received the resolutions from rules.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 110 by Representative Fincher, commending Lieutenant Mark Sloan. Also, House Joint Resolution number 116 by Representative Hall, celebrating Alabama Delta Days. Also, House Joint Resolution number 117 by Representative Clark, commending the Murphy High School High Q team. Also, House Joint Resolution number 118 by Representative Estes, commending Zach Booth. Also, House Joint Resolution number 128 by Representative Harbison, commending Taiwan for its relations with the United States and the state of Alabama. Receive a favorable report.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move adoption of the resolutions from rules using the short roll call.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolutions are adopted.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
have a resolution from
All right, Secretary Reed received the resolution, please.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 119 by Representative Wadsworth, naming a portion of Alabama State Route 257 in Winston County, the Arlie Smith Lake Parkway. Receives a favorable report.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move adoption of the report from the Committee on Rules.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Resolutions adopted. All right, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I have a resolution from rules.
All right, Secretary.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 21 by Representative Reynolds, amending and reenacting Act 2023-383, House Joint Resolution 204, 2023 regular session, which created the Oversight Commission on the Alabama Opioid Settlement Funds to increase the membership of the commission. Receives a favorable report.
Mr. President, move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolutions adopted.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
have a resolution from rules.
All right, Secretary Reed received the resolution from rules.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 131 by Representative Lovern, calling for a joint session on April 2nd, 2024 for Military Appreciation Day. Receives a favorable report.
Mr. President, move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolutions adopted.
Mr. President, have a resolution from rules.
All right, Secretary Reed received the resolution.
What? Mr. President,
Senate Joint Resolution number 44 by Senator Wagner observing July 20th, 2024 as National Space Exploration Day.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
have a resolution.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the resolution from Rules, please.
Senate Joint Resolution number 45, commending the Alabama's Writers Forum for literary contributions to the state of Alabama and promoting the works of past and contemporary Alabama authors and poets by Senator Wagner.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted. All right, any other motions or resolutions? All right, Secretary, call the first bill.
On page 37 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 217 by Senators Chasteen and Butler relating to public school teachers. BR pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Singleton.
I'd like to move for the BR use of previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams, Senator Smithman, you want to be on the roll?
30 ayes, no nays.
30 ayes.
30 ayes, no nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 37 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 217 by Senator Chasteen relating to education. Committee amendment pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Chasteen.
yeah, I have a committee amendment
All right,
I'd like to adopt.
okay. You want to use previous roll?
Previous roll, yes.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams,
30 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment's adopted. Senator Chasteen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this bill, what this bill would do is it would allow certified teachers' aides who want to become classroom teachers that go back and get their credentials to teach to get 1 year of service for every 2 years that they served as a teacher's aide or a paraprofessional. And this will go a long way toward helping us keep our pipeline full of teachers in the classroom. So if there are no questions, I move for final passage using previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams,
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 217 passes. Thank you, Senator Chasteen.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call next bill.
on page 13 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 35 by Senator Smitherman relating to public education. BR pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Smitherman.
ask for passage of BRR and unanimous consent to use previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 13 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 35 by Senator Smitherman relating to public education.
Okay, that's all right. Mr. President.
Senator Smitherman.
Thank you. Members, this bill would require social studies and history instructions to be fact-based, historical, accurate, and inclusive. A long story short, is to provide history the way we did in our resolution on Women's Month, accurate information, and what you heard me do for a whole month when we had the moments in Black history as well. So if there's not any questions, I move for final passage and unanimous consent to use previous roll.
All right, any objection?
We need to talk.
Okay.
You want to talk? Oh, you want the long roll?
Long roll? Okay. Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Allen, Mr. Barfoot, Mr. Beasley, Mr. Bell, Mr. Butler, Mr. Carnley, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Chasteen, Ms. Coleman, Ms. Coleman-Madison, Mr. Elliott, Ms. Figures, Mr. Gavan, Mr. Gudger, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Hovey, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kitchens, Mr. Livingston, Mr. Melson, Mr. Orr, Mr. Price, Mr. Reed, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Sessions, Mr. Shelnut, Mr. Singleton, Mr. Smitherman, Mr. Wagner, Ms. Weaver, Mr. Williams,
$27 ayes, 1 nay, 1 abstention. Senate Bill 35 passes. Thanks, Senator Smitherman. Secretary, call next bill.
Keeping our ear to the ground.
On page 30 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 104 by Senator Carnley relating to civil practice. BIR pending.
Senator Carnley.
Yes, I would like to request the passage of the BIR. I guess we can use previous roll unless somebody wants.
Yeah, we can use previous roll.
Okay.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
$30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
No, this is.
On page 30 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 104 by Senator Carnley relating to civil procedure. Committee substitute pending.
Senator Carnley.
Yes, would like to adopt the sub using previous roll.
All right, any objection?
Mr. President, would you gentlemen explain what's in the sub? And I know this is that asbestos bill.
Yep, get that.
Were you able to work this out with other parties? I know there were some parties on the hall that may have had some issues with it in terms of the process.
That's right. Let me get right here and pull the sub. What we did is we did work with trial.
Okay.
I asked them to come together to work through their differences on this. Some of it was just in the language and some of it was the days. There were a couple of different, potential amendments, but what we did was we just kind of clarified everything, put it in a sub, and I can go through that here. I've got some of the information to kind of summarize it, but what it does is it lowers the number of days, like whenever there's a asbestos action, from 90 days down to 45 days that they have to provide the information to the defendant, to give them with specificity what they're doing or why that defendant should be included in it. It does not limit anybody's ability to take action against somebody, but what it does is it makes sure that the people that they are suing are in fact, it's basically requiring them to provide or prove a nexus, because what happens is, I'm not a lawyer, but sometimes there's some overnaming in these suits where, they just go through and say, okay, well, you're in this zip code, so every business out there that does this kind of work, we're just going to list them because they're a potential, but what they have to do is they have to go through each one of those defendants and provide those defendants with specific information as to why they should be included in that. And over time, some of the statistics on this, and this only applies to asbestos actions. This has nothing to do with any other type of civil action. What they've looked at is over time in these asbestos action claims, roughly 48% of the defendants that have been named have eventually been released, but they've had to go through a long process. They've had to file claims with their insurance carriers and spend money to go through the defense to get released from something that they were never attached to anyway. So what it does is it adds a few more criteria of information that they have to provide the defendant. If they don't provide all that, then it gives another period of time that if they don't provide it, that the judge can release them from the claim. And so that's really what this is trying to do, is it shortens the time frame to give that defendant, the clarity of knowing, okay, I don't need to be included in this, and I got this information, or you haven't provided it, so I'm released from the claim.
All right, we're good.
Okay, thank you. Request final passage using previous role, no objection.
All right, adoption of the committee substitute. Using previous role.
Previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
Thirty-two ayes, 0 nays. The committee substitute's adopted. All right, Senator Carnley.
Yes, sir. Would like to request final passage using previous role, no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
32 ayes.
32 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 104 passes. Thanks, Senator Carnley. Secretary, call next bill.
On page 25 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 177 by Senator Gudger relating to gas districts. BR pending.
Senator Gudger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it. This is a statewide bill with local application. It deals with the Coleman Jefferson Gas and different municipalities with incorporating gas districts. Anyway, it's talking about the board directors of fees and mainly the effects. So besides that, I'd like to make final passage on this bill.
Adopt the BR.
Oh, adopt the BR, please.
All right, previous
roll without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
32 ayes.
32 ayes, no nays. BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 25 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 177 by Senator Gudger relating to gas districts.
Senator Gudger.
Yes, sir. This is just about our, like I said, local municipality gas district, raising the fees for the board of directors. They haven't had that in over 14 years, it looks like. So I'd like to make final passage using previous role without objection.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
33 ayes, no nays. SB 177 receives its final passage. Thank you, Senator Gudger.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Secretary, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
Education employees, BR pending.
Senator Orr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd move adoption of the BR using the previous role.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
33 ayes.
33 ayes, no nays. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 12 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 157 by Senator Orr and others relating to public education employees.
Senator Orr.
Mr. President, I have a substitute to offer.
Secretary, receive the substitute and read it.
Substitute for Senate Bill 157 by Senator Orr.
Mr. President, the bill, after it was filed, got a lot of input from the educational community from many quarters. This bill is to try to support educators in the classroom and help the classroom teacher have some order in their classroom and a simple process to reinforce that order. And then I think I've talked to people much smarter than I, and they inform me this will work well with Senator from Jefferson's bill that he's working on with a House member, that it'll come in and work well. This is more preliminary, and that bill is on down the line, but the two dovetail quite well together. I'll yield for any questions that the gentleman may have.
Senator Singleton, you're recognized.
Thank you. While I do understand where you're going, there's still some language in this bill that I see that I think could be subjective. And when you have words like disturb or if someone, I don't want kids to be put out or go through a procedure or process for standing up for themselves, or if a teacher feel like they're being disorderly because of because they're speaking up for themselves or something of that nature. And I think that we can work through that process, but as I read through the bill and got a better understanding of where it was going, because when I started seeing exposure but when I looked at the procedural process closer, I can understand where you're going based on what is currently going on in school systems today. And while I'm going to reluctantly support this bill, not wholeheartedly support it, but I think it puts a better procedure in place than what we currently have that's out there today when kids are being expelled, and some of them not even coming back to school, and so.
Hopefully where Senator Smitherman, the senator from Jefferson's bill can help with that expulsion and suspension as you move up the continuum. This is more first time, just disturbance and little things that don't get to that level.
And you're right. And as I see it, and when we went through it a little bit more, because this was my first time seeing the bill, no one had talked to me about the bill. And naturally, when I see it goes from high school, and then when you start talking about pre-K and all that, and putting kids out at that age, I really get alarmed, when you start talking about that, because I just think that sometimes we also have to make sure that classroom teachers have patience with children also. And they just can't jump up just because someone gets a little rowdy today or impatient and then send them down the hall to the principal's office and things are happening and they start to get no 3 strikes on them, We would want that to happen. That's why I'm saying I reluctantly go there, because I understand it's just human nature. Everybody don't have the patience of Job, but teachers inherently do sometimes, because that's what they are there for. And I have all the respect for teachers in the world to put up with little Bobbies like me, and because little Bobby could be a mess now. Little Bobby could be no. Little Bobby could be rough, Little Bobby can be out, but also. Does this also deal with kids with special needs, or kids that may have, who are in the regular classroom, the kids that may have, what you call those plans? IEP plans?
Yeah, there's a little section about kids that need some special allowances as far as their behavior.
Because, I might blurt up and just blurt something out, or my attention span may not be there to where that teacher want me to be setting, and I might not want to be there. And so I just don't want those things to happen to students that unintentional. And I do like the concept that I read in there that they will allow parents to come in and be a part of a conference.
Absolutely, and got to have the parents involved.
And even it gives the language, if possible, because I was concerned about some of these areas, like my area of Greensboro. My parents who go to work, they got to go to work in Tuscaloosa, which is 40, 50 miles away, who don't have time to be coming back home. So it gives a if possible language in there. So even then the principal and the teacher would then come up with a plan and then notify the parent later what they came up with. I like that language that you put in the sub on that. That gives it a little bit better. Because when I was reading it, I was reading the original bill until you brought the sub up, a quick scan of it. And it really gave me some pause on the original bill, because off the onset of it looks bad, to me, and for where I sit. And so as I looked through it and we went through the sub a little bit, and I know the gentleman from Jefferson still trying to ponder through the sub a little bit, because I think he wanted to come up here.
He told me he loved it.
We on that bill. Right. Yeah, okay. And so with that, I think we're getting where we need to be on this bill, because I think it then, as you were saying, it catapults over into the bill that's being worked on in terms of the due process that the senator from Jefferson speaks about all the time, to make sure that we're just not throwing kids out there. And so with that, I'm going to reluctantly be satisfied.
Reservations.
With reservations, okay? And I'm going to yield to the gentleman from Jefferson to say what he needs to say. Thank you very much.
Senator Smithers, you're recognized.
Thank you. Senator, I want to compliment you on, you came back with the sub, you look at different things that need to be tightened up on it. And even though the bill was a pretty good bill, I still appreciate you doing that. I'll say this, with the due process part that you have listed and placed in there, that it'll guide us toward what Representative Collins is and I are doing in the other aspect. In fact, I think she has moved, and it may be today, it may be on the House agenda today, that's coming toward her bill, coming toward us. And so that I want to compliment you on that, and just tell you I'm gonna tell them the quick story I told you. I was in college, and of course, we had due process there. But however, the dean, most folks don't know the dean is really the principal. You the principal at the college. And so I had what's called the pluck rule. I told you about that. And the pluck rule was this: if I got 20 kids in a classroom and they trying to learn, and I got one in there this is the words I use, cutting the buck, then I got to pluck that one out of there so that 19 can learn. And this is a process to get if it can be dealt with here at this level. You got 3 levels in there, and I compliment you on that, because it's there. And then you got the parents there on top of that.
Escalates.
And listen, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna conclude. We do something similar like that at Ramsey, and I had a parent whose kid was on the basketball. And we talk about high school kids in the 10th, and I think it might have been 11th grade. When we got to the second phase with the parent, that mama came out there and told the principal outstanding and said, "I just need to go out to the parking lot just for a minute." She went out to the parking lot and got that belt and tore him up. And she said, "Now he ready to go back in." So I just said that to say that, bringing those parents in there, that's going to be a big thing to do to get those kids up there. In fact, one of my grandkids, when they was going to school, they said, "Don't call him." They said, when they tell about something at the school, "Don't call him. I'm all right." So I just like the way that you have put it together with those steps, and
thank you.
You could be commended.
Thank you. I'd move third reading. I'd move adoption of the substitute using the previous role.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Stop written. Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, no nays, and now we're on the bill.
Now I'd move third reading using the previous role, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Straw written. Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
34 ayes, no nays. SB 157 receives its final passage. Secretary, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 23 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 112 by Senators Gavan and Smitherman, relating to the Alabama Business and Nonprofit Entities Code. BR pending.
Senator Gavan.
Thank you. So this time I would move the BIR using previous role without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Straw written. Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, no nays. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 23 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 112 by Senator Gavan and Smitherman, relating to the Alabama Business and Nonprofit Entities Code.
Senator Gavan.
I have an amendment I'd like to offer.
Secretary, read and receive the amendment.
Amendment to Senate Bill 112 by Senator Gavan. Replace line 92 on page 4 with the following. Replace line 4243 on page 152 with the following.
Start looking.
Senator Graham, we're good.
Thank you. So what this amendment does is it deals specifically with statewide trade associations and incorporates that into the law. If there's no questions, I would move adoption of the amendment using previous roll without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, no nays. Secretary, call the bill. Oh, we're on the bill. Excuse me. Senator Van, you're recognized.
Thank you. So, we talk about from time to time keeping up with the Joneses. This is the typical keeping up with the Delawares. This is, that's the rub of this bill that ALI produces and that usually Representative Wadsworth and I bring forth each year. So if there's no questions, I'd move for final passage using previous roll without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, no nays.
34 ayes, no nays. SB 112 receives its final passage. Thank you, Senator Van.
Thank you.
Secretary, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 22 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 171 by Senator Smitherman regarding the Alabama Accountability Act. BR pending.
Senator Smitherman, you're recognized.
Mr. President.
Senator Smitherman.
I wish I had one of them scenic route bills. Help you out on that.
We can get you one.
I move for pass the BRR as unanimous consent use previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, no nays.
34 ayes, no nays. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 22 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 171 by Senator Smitherman relating to the Alabama Accountability Act.
Senator Smitherman.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is involved, under existing law, local board of education must provide timely notice to the parents of each student enrolled in or assigned to a priority school or public school transfer options available to that student under the Alabama Accountability Act. This bill would require each local board of education in a Class 1 municipality only to also include the notice information about the admissions process for magnet schools and in other public schools within that system. So if it's not any questions, I'd move for final passing and that's unanimous consent to use previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, no nays.
34 ayes, no nays. SB 171 receives its final passage. Thank you, Senator Smitherman.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 42 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 155 by Senator Chambliss regarding the Joint Transportation Committee. BR pending.
Senator Chambliss.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the BIR using the previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
You on the roll? 35 ayes, no nays.
35 ayes, no nays. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 42 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 155 by Senator Chambliss relating to transportation.
Senator Chambliss.
Mr. President, just clarifies Department of Transportation revenue. With that, I move final passage using previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
35 ayes.
35 ayes, no nays. SB 155 receives its final passage. Thank you, Senator Chambliss. Secretary, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 45 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 200 by Senator Kitchens regarding the Board of Nursing, BIR pending.
Senator Kitchens.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the BIR using the previous roll without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
35 ayes, no nays.
35 ayes, no nays. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 45 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 200 by Senator Kitchens relating to the Board of Nursing.
Senator Kitchens.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill codifies that a CRNA will have a seat on the Board of Nursing, an existing practice, but just puts that into code. With that, I would move for final passage using previous roll without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
35 ayes, no nays.
35 ayes, no nays. SB 200 receives its final passage. Thank you, Senator Kitchens. Secretary, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 28 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 150 by Senator Gudger regarding taxation, BIR pending.
Senator Gudger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to move the BIR using previous roll without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
35 ayes.
35 ayes, no nays. BIR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 28 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 150 by Senator Gudger relating to taxation, committee substitute pending.
Senator Gudger.
Thank you. We have a substitute that we adopted, and I'd like to do that first if that's possible, making a final motion for the adoption using previous roll without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
33 ayes, no nays. We're on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to explain this bill real quick, this is not levying a new tax whatsoever. This is for short-term rentals. This is requiring booking platforms to collect state and local lodging tax at the place and the point of booking is all this is. There's nothing new that we've got. It's not a new tax. I'd like to make a final motion to approve this bill using previous roll without objection.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
33 ayes, no nays.
33 ayes, no nays. SB 150 receives its final passage. Thank you, Senator Gudger.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Secretary, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 20 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 9 by Senator Coleman Madison relating to Class 1 municipalities, BIR pending.
Senator Coleman Madison.
Chairman, I'd like to move the BR using previous roll without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
33 ayes, no nays.
33 ayes, no nays. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 20 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 9 by Senator Coleman Madison regarding Class 1 municipalities.
Senator Coleman Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we have an amendment that we have worked out with the Board of Realtors.
Secretary, read and receive the amendment.
Amendment 2, Senate Bill number 9 by Senator Coleman Madison. Replace line 97 on page 4 with the following.
The amendment fits. Senator Coleman Madison.
Thank you, sir. This is an amendment. This is a bill relative to Class 1 municipalities in order for us to eliminate blight. And this is the kind of thing that we are talking about in our city. We have a number of situations like this throughout our city in which the city of Birmingham has gone in, eliminated that blight, torn down the houses or what have you. The problem is that they're having a problem trying to recoup the money for this. This will enable this to recoup the money for the fees and fines that they have on that as far as liens, as well as offer that property to people who can make it productive and put it back on the tax roll and rebuild communities. So if there are no further questions, I'd like to move the bill using previous roll without objection.
The amendment.
Move as amended. Thank you.
We got to adopt the amendment.
Yes, we got to adopt the amendment, Senator.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had done it. Move the amendment using previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
33 ayes, no nays. Now we're on the bill.
Move the bill as amended using previous roll.
Any objection? Got an objection? Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen.
Butler.
Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler, Mr. Carnley, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Chasteen, Ms. Coleman, Ms. Coleman Madison, Mr. Elliott, Ms. Figures, Mr. Gavan, Mr. Gudger, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Hovey, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kitchens, Mr. Livingston, Mr. Melson, Mr. Orr, Mr. Price, Mr. Reed, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Sessions, Mr. Singleton, Mr. Smitherman, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Stutz, Mr. Wagner, Ms. Weaver, Mr. Williams.
"24 ayes, 1 nay, 1 abstention. The bill SB 9 receives its final passage as amended.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Coleman Madison. Secretary, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 3 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 99 by Senator Bell and others regarding high school sports. BIR pending.
Mr. President, motion to adopt BIR using previous row.
Any objection? Oh, you probably want to call a, you go with the long,
A long row. Then.
okay. Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chasteen. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Reed. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shelnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, no nays. BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
All right, you the man.
On page 3 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 99 by Senator Bell relating to school sports.
Mr. President.
Senator, you're recognized.
This will be a compliance audit examination for associations governing high school sports. And that's what it is. Ask, pass bill, previous row, short row.
All right, any objection?
No. Can you give me a little bit more?
Basically, it's going to take AHSAA audit, and do a compliance audit with them on the bylaws, policies, and maybe clear up. The goal is to clear up a lot of miscommunication out there on what they do. They come to committee, did not object to it. So hopefully it clears up a lot of miscommunications in not only our body, the House body, but the public with the high schools and parents of sports, and hopefully clean up a lot of talk out there that they have all this money, they don't abide by their policies. So hopefully when examination comes back, everything's clear and it stops.
But this is nothing that they're asking for. This is onus that we're putting on them.
Well, it's not, no, this is something
Is this coming from the Athletic Association?
It's not coming from them. What this is coming is to try to clear up any future bills being
Why are we saying it's a problem if they're not asking us? How do we know that it is something that need to be cleared up?
Well, I think we had 7 bills last session filed against them. I think
I just thought those are just being punitive against them. I think I probably vote against every one of them.
And I think this clears up a lot of misconceptions out there dealing with them. And I've talked about.
What is some of the misconceptions? Because I'm not hearing anything.
They're sitting around with millions of dollars in the bank, that they're not going by their own bylaws. They're treating schools different than other schools. And I think this will clear up a lot of that. That I expect it to come back saying they're doing their bylaws, they're following it, and they don't have all this money in the bank. And I think it'll come and actually.
But what if they do have money in the bank? Is that a crime?
I think as long as it comes back that they're.
Is it a crime to have money in the bank?
It's not. I wish I had more.
I mean, I'm just saying, I hear us, because I know we do a lot of stuff over here because once somebody felt like they were wrong or they didn't get information, and we want to pass a bill on the whole association because we may not like it. And I see that happening around here all the time. There's a 5,000-page bill going around because somebody got pissed off with one agency head, and now we looking at 25,000-page bills, And so
and I think that's why this is very short.
Now I understand that, but being short doesn't mean it is not powerful and punitive.
Correct. And I don't think this is punitive at all. I think this actually helps them. I actually think this clears up future bills. Hopefully it clears up future bills in the next few years from coming out against them.
Well, but again, are they in violation of anything at this point?
I do not know. Without this, there's no way to know. I hope this comes back and says they're not in violation, they're doing everything correctly, and then.
But what is the suspicion then? What is the suspicion that bring you to the point to file this bill on them? Is this some?
Sorry, I try to look at you.
Is this some secondhand information you've gotten from someone else, or is this something based on what you feel is factual that you feel that you need to be bringing this bill on them?
I feel that if you have monies coming in, that's public monies coming in from Gates, and all the schools are paying money to somebody, that every once in a while they should be looked at and say, hey, are you taking all this money and is it being taken care of correctly? Or is enough money being given back to the schools by the policies that you have? Are you basically returning the money to the schools as you're supposed to be by your bylaws? And it's basically checking and making sure those things are, so that our principals, our athletic directors across the state, they understand that, hey, they're doing everything. And I think it will come back correctly.
Are you getting complaints from your athletic directors in your district?
I have had some complaints, yes, sir.
This is what I'm trying to get.
And others.
That because I don't just want this to be some random. No. I think they got a bunch of money over there, and these folks over here running it now. Because I know the president of the association now, who's a good friend of mine, and I don't want to be just because somebody inside the association pissed because you got somebody new and they don't like. Right. Now they want to run rant on this to try to show.
And I hope there's no more bills filed against them for the next 5 or 6 years.
Well, I think that it will still be, because you can always get somebody who's not happy. But I just don't want that if somebody's being prudent and able to save money and raise money because they got money in the bank, doesn't make it criminal.
I don't care.
Doesn't make it.
I don't care if they've got
violation or they've done something, have some malfeasance going on somewhere.
I don't care what they've got in the bank, as long as they're following their bylaws, their policies and procedures, and returning the amount that their policies and procedures have back to the schools and supporting the schools the way they're supposed to be. And that's what I hope it comes back to.
So I guess I'm just still at that point of what bring this on to cause a piece of legislation if there's not a overwhelming number of complaints from schools out there. Because again, we do all these one-off things because we had one friend who got pissed with somebody because they couldn't have their way, and we slap a piece of legislation. We do this every day in this body. One somebody, we pass legislation that holds up the whole state because one somebody.
And that's not my goal on this.
Didn't have their way. And we do that, and we want to put this whole agency under a microscope because some referee thought he didn't get paid enough.
And in truth, for what they put up with, they probably don't get paid enough.
And well, maybe they just need to stop all them bad calls they be making. Some of them don't need to be paid the way they call games. Some of them need some eyeglasses. They need to take the money and give them some eyeglasses with the stuff that they call in some of these games. All out of position and everything. I think that the association probably need to spend some more money on them getting some training. That's what they probably need to do, because you're all out of position, making calls over here and doing things, And at the end of the day, I think that I think the Alabama Athletic Association run a good shop. I go to their big tournaments, some of the regional stuff. Kids are excited. I see, great participation through sponsorships. I see they do a great job, and it's not. And looks good. It's a good. I think it's competitive with any other state brand. I have not heard of anything that make me feel that the association would be doing anything that is not above board and in violation. And I'm okay, with if there's an audit that needs to be done. And if they're getting public money, then maybe we need to do that. But I just don't want these to be some one-off things that, because somebody got mad, if we see it as a legislature that this is a body, and see, because when you said the way you said it, that they're saying that they got all this money in the bank, they're saying it, and see, just because they say.
Exactly, and that's why I want to do this. It's a one-time audit.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can be on the committee that reviews the audit.
I don't want to be on the committee to review the audit. At the end of the day, I personally think they run a good shop. Internally, I don't know what goes on. Maybe some things, some ambiguity need to be cleared up. Maybe there are some clouds. Maybe there are some things that are not as clear, or just like anything else, people can get in a practice of doing things that is not absolutely following what they said they would do, and because it's a practice, and you become president tomorrow, sometimes we just fall into that trench and that game, and we just continue to do things as they are.
Right.
That doesn't mean that is right, and we do it as long as it's not hurting anyone else. And so I'm okay with the concept of audits, because I remember a few years ago, Alabama State University, just because we had a senator got mad because he didn't get some answers to some questions, called for a forensic audit. Found nothing there. But the school had to spend millions of dollars getting this forensic audit because somebody got mad. And you put it on that onus on the school because there was somebody who wanted to see the school fall, and hopefully that they could get hold to the property of some crazy stuff that was going on at that time. And when they found out, there was nothing going on. They were wondering how they building all these new buildings, where are they getting all this money from, because they didn't understand. Now you want to put this forensic audit on someone, and now you find out nobody, I mean, all the audits came back, all the findings was good. I'm good. All the findings were good. And so I just want to make sure that, we are not just out here cherry picking at something.
And this is not a forensic, this is compliance.
I understand that. I was just using the forensics, in the example, they put Alabama State through a forensics, okay? Which do you mean that's a deep dive?
Deep.
That's a deep dive
Where the
there.
accountants make a lot of money.
Yeah, and somebody made a bunch of money off of that. You see what I'm saying? They spent probably a couple $1 million on that audit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because of all of the departments and your foundations and athletics. I mean, they did a deep dive and found nothing.
Yeah.
Just because one of my members here was, woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day and decided that they wanted to push the administration and push the governor to call for that, because they had that avenue to push the governor to do that, okay?
Right.
And so I just don't, when I hear these kind of things, it just raises my antennas, and I see you as an honorable man, okay? I do, in terms of how I see you personally, okay? And I wouldn't think that you're standing here doing something in that manner. I just have to ask this question.
Anytime.
That this is not about some one-off that we're just picking because we don't like who the new director is, or we don't like who the new CFO is over there, and you get that. And people will gas us up in the street. Now, we listen to everything that people in the street tell us. We think the world is falling apart.
We'd be in trouble.
We've been in trouble. We think the world, the sky's falling, Chicken Little's back. The sky's falling again. We would think that it's happening because when you listen to those guys out there on the block, the world is just crumbling, man. There's nothing going on right. Everybody is wrong. Everybody's a crook. Everybody doing wrong. And they have no facts of matter whatever they're talking about.
They all think we get rich coming down here.
They think we all get rich coming down here. And it costs us more to come down here than it is that we ever would be carrying back home.
Amen.
And so I'm not going to prolong this bill. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't just barking up a tree and going after some people just because Johnny on the street thought that, man, they got millions of dollars. Because when I heard that, I just want to make sure there's no crime to have millions of dollars in the bank.
I wish I did.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, final passage using previous roll.
Previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
Thirty ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 99 passes. Thank you, Senator Bell. Secretary called next bill.
On page 25 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 204 by Senators Sessions and Allen regarding domestic and foreign corporations. BIR pending.
Mr. President, move BIR using previous roll without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 25 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 204 by Senators Sessions and Allen relating to corporations. Committee amendment pending.
Senator Sessions.
Do we need to adopt the amendment?
Yeah, we're on the committee amendment.
Okay, on committee amendment. I move to adopt the committee amendment using previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Sessions.
Yes, sir. Body, this is just a little, for small businesses, there's some duplications that are going on. All this information is already available, but they're having to file an annual report. This just basically does away with that annual report. All the information is already there with the office. So with that, I would move passage of the bill as amended using previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 204 passes. Thanks, Senator Sessions.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Yes.
If this is a proper moment, I'd like to have the other 5 minutes of the moment of personal privilege.
All right, you're recognized.
All right. I want everybody to listen just for a minute. You know, we as we did in February, we had moments of quote Black history, and then in the next month we had women's history. So I wanted to share a specific piece of history for today. And I don't know if where the senator. If the senator, you want me to give you your apples for this? The senator from Tuscaloosa, you want me to give you your apples for this? I don't mind. I was sent a text message of a reminder by my colleague from the great city of Tuscaloosa that today, just after 6 p.m. on April the 4th, 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. is fatally shot while standing on the balcony outside of his second-story room at the L'Oreal Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. The civil rights leader was in Memphis to support a sanitation workers' strike and was on his way to dinner when a bullet ridden his body. I just wanted to make everyone know the specialness of this day and the fact that this was, in fact, the day that Martin Luther King, who did so much to try to bring all of us together, was assassinated. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And thank you, Senator, for sending it to me.
All right, thank you. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 28 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 199 by Senator Albritton regarding emergency medical transport providers. BR pending.
Senator Albritton.
Mr. President, move for passage of BIR using previous rule without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 28 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 199 by Senator Albritton regarding emergency medical transport providers.
Mr. President.
Senator Albritton.
This is a continuation of the emergency medical transport providers tax, self-imposed tax for Medicaid purposes, simply extends it out for one more year. If there's no questions, move for final passage using previous rule with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, no nays.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 199 passes. Thanks, Senator Albritton. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 39 of the calendar, Senate Bill 202 by Senator Carnley regarding animals. BR pending.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would ask that we pass BIR using previous role, no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. The BIR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 39 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 202 by Senator Carnley relating to animals.
Senator Carnley.
Yes, sir. This is something that we're doing to kind of catch up because we have not done anything with our law since 1919 to allow different ways to dispose of dead animals, livestock. What this will do is it will transfer the rulemaking and to the Department of Agriculture because of new technologies, new disposal methods, and this is just updating that to give them those. And so request that we pass this, our final passage, using previous row.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 202 passes. Thanks, Senator Carnley.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Secretary, call next bill.
On page 28 of the calendar, Senate Bill 154 by Senator Albritton, relating to sheriffs. BIR pending.
Senator Albritton.
Mr. President, move for passage of the BIR using previous rule with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, no nays.
32 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 28 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 154 by Senator Albritton, relating to sheriffs. Committee amendment pending.
Mr. President, we have a committee amendment that move passage of adoption of the committee amendment with using previous rule. With
Mr. President.
All right. Yes.
Could you explain the amendment and what this really? I'm gonna just ask so you can get through with me. Just explain the amendment and then what does it mean by category 1 and 2 counties?
Excellent questions, and let me respond to that.
Okay.
Refers to categories. Those categories relate directly to populations of particular counties, and from the highest to the lowest. Jefferson County is number 1. Jefferson County is exempt from this from previous and other legislation.
From this piece too?
Yes.
They're not included in here? So we need to bring a separate bill?
No, you don't.
A local bill?
No, you don't need one because you're exempt from this anyway.
Okay. No, I don't mean to take away. To do what you're trying to do, if we want to do it, we would need to bring a local bill.
No, you already have the authority to do so.
Oh, we do?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's my understanding according to LSA. I made the inquiries just today.
Okay. Well, you answered all my questions then.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Senator Smithman.
Hey, the conductor has rolled it. He rolled it today. Okay, thank you.
All right. Adoption of the committee amendment using previous rule?
Yes, sir, please.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Albritton.
Thank you. I have a floor amendment, if I may.
All right. Secretary, read and receive the amendment, please.
Amendment to Senate Bill 154 by Senator Albritton. Replace lines 11 through 12 on page 1 with the following. Replace line 26 on page 1 with the following. Replace lines 50 through 52 on page 2 with the following.
All right, Senator Albritton.
Thank you. Let me explain. First amendment that we did took this to a population of 200, anything from county with 200,000 population or above. Basically, it will be able to adjust sheriff salaries as the county needs to. No effect on general fund at all. That would be a local decision from this point for those counties. What this floor amendment does is it also provides a means so that expense accounts, if the county decides, can provide expense accounts to the sheriff so that they don't have to wait for the next term to get the salary. Okay? I have a question, I think.
Yeah, Senator Smith.
Do you know, I know we're exempt, but do you know if we have that capability about the expense part you said or not?
From the discussions I had with LSA today, this language is legal and it has taken language from other legislation. I believe, now this is simply my belief, that came from Jefferson County.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I may be wrong about that. We can double check, but I believe that's a matter that if we need to bring it in, we'll work together to get that handled if you need to.
Okay. All right. We can, you go on. If you want to go on and pass your bill, then we could have to work it in, you're gonna work with me, we'll get it in there.
And the reason we're doing this is too, very often we have sheriffs that have been serving in the sheriff's department, chief deputies or whatever, they get elected and they get a significant pay cut because of limitations and what we statutorily have sheriffs pay in. This will give the counties of those where the sheriffs serve the ability to meet, match, or exceed as they determine the salaries for the new sheriff at that time.
If you would, and I'm, because I'm gonna talk to you later on when we come out, I'll remind you. If you would, that the person that's drafted that,
certainly,
if you would ask them to clarify what we talking about.
Certainly will.
I mean, the bill can go on.
We're going to be meeting after this anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. With that, if there's no further question, I'd move for adoption of the floor amendment using previous rule with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. The Senator Albritton amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Albritton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd move for final passage as amended using previous rule without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 154 passes amended. Thanks, Senator Albritton.
Thank you.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 8 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 123 by Senator Kelly relating to the State Board of Auctioneers. BIR pending.
All right, Senator Kelly.
Mr. President, move adoption of the BIR by previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 8 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 123 by Senator Kelly regarding the State Board of Auctioneers.
All right, Senator Kelly.
Mr. President, this is a sunset bill that extends the date out to October 1st, 2028. Move adoption by previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Thank you. Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 123 passes. Thanks, Senator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 125.
Mr.
By
President.
Senator Stewart relating to the State Board of Public Accountancy, BIR pending.
Senator Stewart.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of the BIR using previous rule without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 125 by Senator Stewart and Coleman Madison regarding the Board of Public Accountancy.
What this bill, it extends the State Board of Public Accountancy until October 2028 without modification, and it's in correlation with the sunset recommendation of the Sunset Committee. So I move for a final passage using previous rule without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 125 passes. Thanks, Senator Stewart. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 126 by Senator Stewart and Coleman Madison regarding the Alabama Liquefied Petroleum Gas Board. BIR pending.
All right, Senator Stewart.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of the BIR using previous rule without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
32 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill 126 by Senator Stewart and Coleman Madison regarding the Liquefied Petroleum Gas Board.
All right, Senator Stewart.
This bill also extends this board for another 4 years, and they do good work keeping Alabamians safe. So I move for final passage using previous rule without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
33 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 126 passes. Thanks, Senator Stewart. All right, Secretary, call the next bill on the calendar.
On page 6 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 132 by Senator Barfoot regarding the Board of Social Work Examiners. BIR pending.
Senator Barfoot.
Mr. President, thank you. Move for adoption of the BIR using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
34? All right, 34 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 6 of the calendar, Senate Bill 132 by Senator Barfoot regarding the Social Work Examiners Board.
All right, Senator Barfoot.
Thank you, Mr. President. If there are no questions, this is a sunset bill. It's extended out 4 years, and I move for final passage using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 132 passes. Thanks, Senator Barfoot. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 7 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 147 by Senator Coleman Madison regarding the Public Service Commission. BIR pending.
Senator Coleman Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move the BIR using previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 7 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 147 by Senator Coleman Madison regarding the Public Service Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This agency is very important. As you know, Public Service Commission is an elected body statewide, do an excellent job, but it's something that impacts all of us. And doing some research on Public Service Commission, it is a quietly sort of unassuming, maybe unknown to some people, or you hear the name. And I often said if I ever ran for a statewide office, it would be Public Service Commission. Maybe it's the name Public Servants, but it touches all of our lives because it regulates the natural gas and electricity. And they also determine how much we pay for electricity, natural gas, and other utilities. And even if you are not natural gas, they do have a hand in working with those other agencies that don't have natural gas. So it's really important. And just for the public's consumption, those people that are watching, that are in the gallery as well, we need to try to educate people more about Public Service Commission, because every year you have a DECA that provides funding, and you have these Central Alabama agencies and everything that gets funding from them. And it comes through to help people with utility bills. It is a huge impact for people who are disabled or indigent that cannot afford to pay. And a lot of them always complain. They call us thinking that we can do something about it. But understand that this is something that it is regulated by the Public Service Commission. So I just wanted to kind of give everybody a brief overview of what that is all about, to understand the importance. And without further ado, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move final passage using previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
34 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 147 passes. Thanks, Senator Coleman Madison. All right, Senator Reed.
Mr. President, we had one senator that had a bill asking to be introduced that missed the window in the special order calendar. According to the Secretary, I have the ability to make a motion to set sunset aside for one item, and I'm going to make a motion now that we set sunset aside for the introduction of one bill.
All right, and you'd like to use previous role?
Use previous role.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
34 ayes, 0 nays. The motion to suspend the provisions for the sunset statute passes. All right.
Ma'am. Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your hard work this week and for your diligence today. Wow, we have accomplished a lot. We've been able to celebrate Military Day. We had so many things going on with our military personnel that were here in the State House. We've had a very robust committee day on Wednesday with a lot of action and activity. We heard so many bills that came that got their reading today that we're going to be dealing with moving forward. And then we've had a calendar of 21 bills today and had a lot of success. So I want to thank you. I hope everybody has a good rest of the afternoon. I'll be looking forward to seeing you back here on Tuesday. With that, Mr. President, I make a motion that we stand adjourned until 2 p.m. on Tuesday, April 9th.
All right, you heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. President.